You're listening to Urban Internet News, national news and information for and about people of color.
Welcome to UIN with Ebony Elizabeth, Brooklyn Alexander, Leslie Brewington, and Alexander Caden. An autopsy commissioned for George Floyd's family found that he died of asphyxiation due to neck and back compression. The autopsy by a doctor who also examined Eric Garner's body found the compression cut off blood to Floyd's brain, and the weight on his back made it hard to breathe. The family's autopsy differs from the official autopsy as described in a criminal complaint. That autopsy included the effects of being restrained, along with underlying health issues and potential intoxicants in Floyd's system, but also said it found nothing to support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation. Here's Brooklyn Alexander.
The Minneapolis police officer who was filmed kneeling on George Floyd's neck has been taken into custody and charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. Derek Chauvin, the officer in the video, was charged on Friday afternoon in conjunction with the FBI. The county attorney says the investigation continues, possibly centering on the other three officers in the video. The Justice Department is also carrying out its own investigation into the case. Minnesota State Police handcuffed and arrested live-on-air CNN correspondent Omar Jimenez, who is of Black and Latino descent, along with his producer and camera crew, while they were standing where police told them to stand, and despite being made aware that the crew were reporters. The state officers refused to tell them why they were being arrested. Minnesota's governor quickly moved to have the team released. However, police did not arrest a white reporter who was standing in the same area reporting as well. New York City officials want police to launch a criminal investigation into the white woman calling 911 on a black man in Central Park and making false reports that he threatened her. The Commission on Human Rights is investigating the woman whose actions were caught on video. Amy Cooper is the name, has apologized. She was fired from a job following the incident.
Protesters who took to the streets in Minneapolis have met a more determined response from police officers and National Guard troops as demonstrations escalated in dozens of cities across the country. Soon after the curfew took effect, the police in Minneapolis began arresting protesters and firing tear gas and other projectiles toward crowds, and the National Guard used a helicopter to dump water on a burning car. The forceful response reflected the desire of authorities to halt the violent protests that have spread nationwide since George Floyd died after being pinned down by a white Minneapolis police officer. Downtown Washington, D.C. was filled with flames and broken glass in the early hours of Sunday morning as large groups of protesters moved throughout the city. The protesters caused extensive damage to businesses on the blocks surrounding the White House after a large contingent of law enforcement, including National Guard troops, the U.S. Park Police, and the Secret Service, kept the demonstrators back from the White House. Atlanta had its problems with protesters, and the mayor, Keisha Lance Bottoms, spoke out about it.
What I see happening on the streets of Atlanta is not Atlanta. This is not a protest. This is not in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is chaos.
We understand the outrage against the killing of George Floyd, but where's the outrage on this? Just weeks after recovering from the deadly coronavirus, Sheila Lucas, a 71-year-old grandmother from Washington, D.C., tragically died after being shot while protecting her granddaughter during an altercation with two other women. According to reports, the shooting happened after two women had a confrontation inside a giant supermarket. Lucas was walking back home with her daughter, granddaughter, and great-grandchildren when the woman who they didn't know returned and started another confrontation. Lucas stepped in to try to protect her granddaughter when someone started shooting. Lucas was taken to a nearby hospital where she was later pronounced dead. We ask again, where's the outrage for this? Here's Leslie Brewington.
Protesters angry over the death of George Floyd blocked Interstate 70 in downtown St. Louis, Missouri, which forced a FedEx driver to take a detour. The driver was forced to stop as a group of demonstrators crowded the street, attempted to take packages and items from the truck, and flashed guns. The driver got scared, honked his horn, and started driving. One man got trapped between two trailers of the truck and was dragged several feet. He later died of his injuries. No arrests were made. Omarosa Manigault Newman was dealt a blow by a federal judge. The former White House staffer lost her bid to have the DOJ's complaint seeking a $50,000 civil fine against her tossed out. The U.S. District Court did not elaborate on the reasons why her motion was dismissed.
Federal prison officials have shut down rumors of the early prison release of Kwame Kilpatrick, the former mayor of Detroit. Reports began circulating that he was going to be released from the Federal Correctional Complex Oakdale Prison in Louisiana after a coronavirus outbreak at the facility, but now we know that's not going to happen. Jennifer Carroll Foy wants to make history and become the first black woman to be governor of Virginia and the first black woman to govern any of the 50 states. Carroll Foy will be entering into the 2021 Virginia gubernatorial race with the hopes of not only breaking a political glass ceiling, but also pushing forward an agenda that will empower all people, regardless of race, religion, gender, or creed.
According to a report in the Washington Post, a U.S. district judge has ruled that those in Florida who have been convicted of felonies can register to vote and participate in the upcoming November election, even if they have not paid off all of their fines and fees.
You've been listening to UIN. For more national news and information for and about people of color, visit our website at uinews.net.